Hey guys, this tutorial is very detailed, so I'm just going to jump right in, starting with the full coverage foundation from Kevyn Aucoin. Next, you're going to pick just one eyebrow and fill it in as you normally would. I'm using Spiked from MAC. Add a little concealer to clean up the eyebrow shape and add a highlight. I'm using Kevyn Aucoin for this step as well. Next, you want to start with an eyeshadow base. I'm using Painterly from MAC. First, I'm going to start in the crease with Blur from the Melt Cosmetics Dark Matter Stack. Then I'm going to follow up with Unseen. I also added a little handwritten eyeshadow from MAC right into my crease. Next, I added Dark Matter, which is the black in the Melt Cosmetics palette, right into the corner of my eye and blended it up into the crease. I then added Sweet Heat to my eyelid and sprayed a little Fix Plus on the brush so that it would come out more pigmented. Using a black gel liner from MAC, I added my wing. Next, I'm going to move on to tracing my face. So with a light pencil or a white pencil, you want to map out your claw marks. Here's where you're going to decide what areas of your face you want to stay glam and what areas you're going to designate for your Wolverine. I used Nye Nose Scar Wax to cover my eyebrows. You can also use a glue stick for this step. Really, I'm just trying to get rid of some of the color and eliminate the tail of my eyebrow. Then I went back in with my foundation brush to set the wax. Next, you're going to contour the area of your face that's going to remain human, aka glam. I'm using AJ Crimson Cream Foundation. That's going to be the same side of the face where you already completed your eyeshadow. You want to do your cheekbone, your temple, your jawline, and one side of your nose. Go ahead and blend that in just as you normally would. Using a concealer from NARS, I highlighted under my eye. I also realized I forgot to blend my nose, so I did that very quickly. So you're going to blend in the eye with a beauty blender. Then I added a lighter shade just to kind of wake my eyes up a little bit more and blended that in. I also added a little bit to the bridge of the nose and blended that in as well. Next, I added Laura Mercier's translucent setting powder and just pressed it into the skin. Add your favorite black eyeliner pencil to your waterline, and then you want to follow that up with both Unseen and Dark Matter from the Melt Cosmetics palette, just to blend it in and make the line softer. Add your favorite mascara to the bottom and top lashes. Moving on to the other eye, you want to start once again with an eyeshadow base. This time you're going to put it on the bottom as well and blend out. I applied Unseen from Melt Cosmetics right into the crease. Then, using the same angled brush and gel liner from before, I'm going to begin tracing the shape that I want for my werewolf eye. Drag the inside corner of the eye down the bridge of your nose. This is going to make your eye look more wolf-like. Then with the flat brush and more gel liner, fill in the area. But leave your tear duct area open. Next, I set the eyeliner using Dark Matter from Melt. Then with that same brush and a little bit of the black eyeshadow, I began to blend out the edges, just to create a soft line. Then using Unseen from Melt or any other soft brown shadow and a fluffy brush, you're going to blend out that line even further to create a nice gradient. I went back in with a tiny amount of black eyeliner just to define the inner corner and the outer corner. I really wanted these areas to have a sharper edge. Next, I added a black pencil to the top and the bottom of my waterline. I added a little bit more foundation to the tail of my brow to make sure it was covered. Next, I used DIPDOWN, which is a brown gel liner from MAC. With an angled brush, I began to draw long strokes to create the illusion of hair. I maintained some distance between each stroke so that it would still look like hair even when you stood further away. I really wanted this brow to look extra big and bushy, so I extended each line past my natural brow, almost doubling it in size. I also brought it in further than my natural brow as well. I then added concealer to clean up the line and add highlight. Next, I highlighted under the eye with Kevyn Aucoin. I used Kevyn Aucoin for this because I wanted a full coverage concealer. I also wanted this eye to be a little bit brighter than the other side. In hindsight, I guess you don't need a full coverage concealer, but it was just my personal preference. Set it with the translucent powder and use your small fluffy brush to make sure that your lines are well blended. Next, you're going to add white paint to your tear duct with a small eyeliner brush. I then decided to set the area with Blur from Melt because I didn't want it to look so bright against the contrast of my skin. Next, I added that same contour color to my cheek. On this side, I'm going to add an even darker shade because I want a very deep contour. Once I blended it out, I added a little bit more of that deeper shade for more definition. Next, I went in to shade all of the areas that I previously traced out. I also added contour down the side of my nose and a little bit of highlight down the bridge of my nose and the center of my forehead. Then I went in to blend all of those areas. You don't have to overblend because you really want to keep the contrast. I went back in with that deeper shade to define the corners of each claw mark. Then I took my white pencil and retraced my claw marks because it kind of got lost in all of my blending. Now is the time to make any changes if you have them. Using my angled brush and my black gel liner, I drew on my nose. It's pretty simple, you kind of just do a half circle, but make sure to stay within your trace lines. Then I set it with dark matter, the black eyeshadow. Next, I set my entire face with a translucent powder before applying the wax, aka the skin. Using your fingertips or a spatula, you're going to begin adding the wax to the trace lines. Just go little by little. For this part, you don't have to worry about being perfect because it's going to look dope no matter what. Next, I added Blunt from MAC, which is kind of like a contour shade on me. I concentrated some of it on the side of my nose next to my nostril, where I'm going to later on draw fur. Then I also went around to inside all of my slash marks. Next, I added dark matter or my black eyeshadow to the edges of the skin, aka inside the wax. And when it came to the tops and the bottoms of each slash, I really drug out that black. Using Stone from MAC, I lined the center area of my lip and filled it in. Then I took my black gel liner and just kind of added definition towards the insides of my mouth. Next, I added Enigma from the dark matter stack to the edges of my claw marks. This is kind of like a red rust color. Using a small angled brush and a brown gel liner, I began to draw on my fur. I started from the edges and I lifted my brush as I drug it in to kind of create a point. I did this on my forehead, down the side of my nose, my cheekbone, as well as inside the other claw marks. For the cheekbones, you want to pull them up pretty far so that you can still see them when you look straight on. For this part, you can kind of have fun. In hindsight, I kind of wished I would have added black strokes as well, just for more dimension. So I would recommend that for you. You can add a black or darker brown color, just in certain areas here and there, to give it a little bit more pop. Next, I added one false lash to my glam eye from Lena Lashes in the style Kendall. On the Wolverine eye, however, I only applied mascara. I retraced my eye with my favorite liquid liner to make it more defined. I added white paint to my nose and set it with Blur. Next, I added a red lip stain from Stila to the outside areas of my lips. I really wanted to use my Artist Couture highlight, but my claw mark covered my cheekbone, so I used it in my tear duct and my Cupid's bow instead. Now we finally come to the final step. You're going to add Thick Blood by Nye to the edges of your claw marks. I just used a small little brush to apply it, and I concentrated more blood on the tops and bottoms of each section. When you're finished, you can also add fangs, but it's optional. Here is the final look. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like and comment. Thank you lacecat.com. Be sure to check them out for these rings and other dope accessories. I'm super excited to see you guys' recreation, so don't forget to tag me on Instagram. Happy Halloween!
Too much?